Welcome to the Naga Chronicles Podcast. I'm Srimukh Duvvuri, author of The Serpent Prince. In today's episode, Takshaka, villain or justified? If Adi Shesha is the ideal, and Vasuki is the sacrifice, then Takshaka is the fury. He's the Naga king most people remember, because he's the one who killed a human king and set off a chain of events that nearly wiped out every serpent in existence. But was he a villain? Or was he something more complicated than that? The setup. To understand Takshaka, you have to understand what came before him. After the great Kurukshetra war described in the Mahabharata, the Pandavas ruled for a time, and eventually, the throne passed to Parikshit, Arjuna's grandson. Parikshit was a good king, but he made a mistake. While hunting in the forest, he came across a sage deep in meditation, Reshaped, who had taken a vow of silence. Parikshit, thirsty and tired, asked for water. The sage didn't respond. He couldn't, he was in a meditative trance. But Parikshit took the silence as an insult. In his arrogance, he picked up a dead snake and draped it around the sage's neck as a humiliation. That act of disrespect set everything in motion. The curse. Shamika's son, Shringin, was a young sage with a fierce temper. When he discovered what Parikshit had done to his father, he was consumed by rage. He cursed the king. Within 7 days, Parikshit would die from the bite of Takshaka, the serpent king. Now here's what's interesting. Shringin issued the curse, but Takshaka was the instrument. And Takshaka didn't just blindly follow the curse, he had his own reasons. Takshaka's grievance. The Nagas had suffered at human hands for generations. Their lands had been burned. In the Mahabharata, the Khandava Vana, a great forest that was home to Nagas and other beings, was deliberately set ablaze by Arjuna and Krishna to please Agni, the fire god. Countless Nagas died in that fire. Takshaka's own wife perished in the blaze, though Takshaka himself was away at the time, and his son Ashvasena narrowly escaped. So when the curse gave him permission to strike at Parikshit, a descendant of the very Arjuna who burned his home, Takshaka didn't hesitate. This wasn't just duty. This was personal. He disguised himself and his followers as ascetics, infiltrated the king's heavily guarded tower, and delivered the fatal bite. Parikshit died. The curse was fulfilled. The consequences. Parikshit's son, Janamejaya, was devastated, and his response was extreme. He organized the Sapa Satra, a massive fire sacrifice designed to summon and destroy every serpent in the world. One by one, Nagas were pulled into the sacrificial fire by the power of the mantras. Thousands died. This was genocide, a systematic attempt to wipe out an entire race because of the actions of one individual. Takshaka's strike on Parikshit was targeted, one king, one bite, for specific reasons. Janamejaya's response was indiscriminate. Every Naga everywhere, regardless of innocence or guilt. The cycle of violence escalated far beyond what the original act warranted. And that's the tragedy of Takshaka's story. The question of justification. Was Takshaka justified? The mythology doesn't give you a clean answer, and I think that's deliberate. On one hand, Parikshit disrespected a sage. The curse was issued by a Brahmin. Takshaka was acting within the framework of dharmic consequence, and he had genuine grievances. His people had been burned alive in the Khandava forest. On the other hand, Parikshit had apologized. He tried to make amends. He sought protection. And Takshaka killed him anyway, through deception. This is what makes the Mahabharata brilliant. It doesn't do clean heroes and villains. It gives you characters with legitimate grievances who make choices that lead to catastrophic consequences. Takshaka is a case study in righteous anger becoming destructive fury. Why Takshaka matters for the Serpent Prince. In the Serpent Prince, the tension between Nagas and the world above isn't just political, it's personal. There are grudges that go back generations. There are characters who believe in restraint, and characters who believe they've been restrained for too long. Takshaka represents the breaking point, the moment when patience runs out and the fire answers. Every mythology has that character, and the Nagas have Takshaka. The question my book asks, and the question the Mahabharata asks, is whether that fire solves anything, or whether it just creates more fire. Next episode, we're going to a riverbank in Vrindavan, where a young Krishna dances on the hood of a poisonous serpent named Kaliya. It's one of the most famous stories in all of Hindu mythology, and almost everyone misses the deeper meaning. Thanks for listening to the Naga Chronicles Podcast. Follow me on Instagram at Srimukh Duvvuri and check out The Serpent Prince, a YA fantasy based on Hindu mythology.